Hello to Emanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
Publishing Journey, you're coming back from the States, from lectures there. What would be the headline that you would emphasize from your meetings there?
In the golden words of Professor Mark Nason's BIOMF.
Which means?
Bring it on, motherfucker.
Wow. And he means to whom?
To the Trump administration, but in this context, I think it's against all the movements of the right who are trying to change the way of life of liberal democracy, if it's in the United States or if it's in Israel.
So basically you're seeing the federation movement and your content and your book as part of a wider struggle?
Yes, part of a wider struggle for democracy and for equal rights. Clear, because in Israel, the federation movement is in favor of equal rights for the Palestinians and the Jews, not only for the Jewish Israelis. And so we're definitely part of a liberal development.
How would you see the total, the complete, the ultimate victory of this struggle of the federations after the meeting that you had in the United States?
First of all, widespread support for the federation. Okay, it's clear that the federation is the only way we can deal with the Israel-Palestine conflict, and other research groups are also coming to that conclusion.
The toughest questions that you've been asked in the United States during the meetings, the lectures in the universities, the churches elsewhere about the federation movement?
Well, they want to make sure that equal rights are assured. Okay, this is something very central to American Democrats. Okay, America underwent the civil rights movement in the 60s of the previous century, and this is ever present in their mind, especially now that everything is under attack from the Trump administration. So similarly, they expect that Israel-Palestine should be an equal rights environment, and the federation assures that.
Also equal rights for Arabs that are living in Israel.
Equal rights for every citizen of under Israel's sovereignty.
But during these unique days, after the October 7th war, during what has happened, and we were all taking notice, a very sad notice about the Bibas family, do you think it's feasible, it's doable?
It's feasible, it's doable. It's much more difficult now, especially in the immediate aftermath of this of 7th of October. It'll take some more time until people realize that there's no other way out.
Because the trust is really broken.
Yeah, well, there wasn't very much trust in the beginning. But there were a lot of activists, especially on the left and the center left, who are readjusting their attitude, who thought that it would be possible to make peace and who now think it's not possible. But it'll take some time until some leadership comes up which will show them the way.
Do you think that any kind of peace can be made with Hamas?
Yes, I think so. First of all, I think Hamas suffered a big defeat, and they know that. Even if they can claim from here to eternity that they won or that they survived. If you take one look at the streets of Gaza, and you understand who won. But there are people. First of all, Hamas is not only a military organization; it's also a social construct. And there are people who understand that the Palestinians will only be able to succeed if they embrace some kind of agreement with Israel.
And the agreement that you would visualize, especially in these days, what would be the first step?
The first step would be to agree on a final outcome that determines that there's equal rights for everybody in the area, okay, and also to agree on the idea of regional government, and to agree on joint sovereignty, which is what a federation implies.
But right now, when you're seeing Donald Trump with Elon Musk. You're seeing Benjamin Netanyahu with Bezalel Smotrich. You're seeing the last results of the election in Germany. All the right-wing parties in Europe. What would be your perspective? What is happening right now?
It makes it much more difficult, but persistence is the only way to go anywhere in politics. And we are in a situation which is, I think, unlike other countries. And the countries in Europe and the United States who are moving to the right are not under in a conflict situation like we are in. And the need to fix it is not as to fix things is not as urgent in those countries as it is in Israel.
Do you think that the people that were kidnapped now towards the possible second phase, do you think they are going to be reaching home?
I'm not sure. I'm afraid that the Netanyahu government is spoiling for a continuation of the fight with Hamas, and is willing to risk the hostages.
To risk or to sacrifice?
They're risking to sacrifice them. Absolutely. They're ruthless about this. It's clear politically that it serves their purpose. And
in what way? Because even Witkoff, the Trump's aide and manager of the First Step, said that he claims that Netanyahu has goodwill towards solving the conflict.
Yeah, well, we know about Netanyahu's goodwill. Netanyahu is not somebody whose word can be relied upon, and we don't know what went on between him and Trump, and we don't know what the agreement says. But it appears that so far he's getting everything he wants, and he doesn't, he has no need to change his policies.
What about the transfer or the relocation, the willingly relocation of Arab people from Gaza, from the northern part, from all the strip of Gaza?
I think it's a terrible policy, and the thought of implementing this is abhorrent.
Why?
Because we already have a problem with the first Nakba, which we never dealt with, and we're piling on more Nakbas. And we have to, in the end, find a way of reconciliation with the Palestinians. The more damage we do in this regard, both in causing death in Gaza and transferring Palestinian populations, the more difficult it will be for us to come to any kind of reconciliation. And everybody has to understand that reconciliation is the only way out. We can't kick them all out. That won't happen.
But they're saying, Trump is saying in front of cameras, only the people that are willing, they ask to be relocated for, I don't know, some amount of time. Why wouldn't Israel let them go?
The whole concept of bringing this up is not acceptable. It's not acceptable under the circumstances, in the framework we're talking about. It's not as if there's a clean slate. It's not we're not starting from scratch. We are starting with history. Okay, history of what was done to us, and history is what we did to the Palestinians, and history of what we do to each other. And it's clear that we have to find a way out of this. We cannot continue hitting each other and killing each other and transferring each other, because it just won't work. And like the Europeans found a way out of it, we also have to.
What do you mean by like the European after the Second World War?
Yes, after the Second World War. It didn't take so long until the Europeans realized that Germany has to become part of the European Union.
What do you think was the key move that so many Nazi Germans that were fighting, after a few days, weeks, month or year, they became legit citizens of Europe? What was the key move?
I think the key move was the realization of both the United States and the European countries that in order to prevent any future like the past, things have to change in a major way, and the Germans have to be embraced with limitations.
The question is, do you think that the government, the Nazi government or the Hamas government should be demolished first in order to create reconciliation.
Parts of that government are demolished already. Okay, it's a question how to deal with it, and there are many ways of looking at it and how to deal with it. It has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with in a positive way, and in a way which embraces humanity and embraces care and empathy for the Palestinians.
You know, when you're talking about values that are being demolished in Israel, is there any upside, any good news that you would recommend to see, even in those intriguing days?
Well, first of all, the upside is that I think the progressive forces in Israel are being united against what's happening. I think we're still gathering our forces, but I think soon there'll be a wider movement to work against all the negative things which are coming out. And of course, on a personal note, the book that I'm writing with Tas Abu Sada about shared sovereignty, which describes the federation in more detail, is about to see the light of day in the next few months, and I'm looking forward for that to happen.
And the lectures in the United States were joint venture lectures of you, Emanuel Shahaf, with Tas Abu Sada, together on stage, which is a very, very unique experience.
In front of an evangelist audience. It was interesting. A Jew, a Christian, a former Muslim, and to a Christian audience.
Yes. You're hopeful at the beginning of 2025?
There's no other way of dealing with the world. I'm hopeful.
Emanuel Shahaf, people that want to be part of the federation movement, of you, how they can reach out?
To Facebook, Emanuel Shahaf, or the Federation Movement, or Identity, the Quest for Israel's Future.
Emanuel Shahaf, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.